the second example. The second example, I have been asked to evaluate this limit x approaches 0, e to the power 10x minus e to the power x by tan x minus x. Here you see that the denominator you have tan x minus x. So somehow in the numerator, if I want to use this form, see whatever is here should be here. So there's tan x minus x here, whereas this term approaches 0, so the same thing should be here. So let's multiply and divide by tan x. So I'll get like this, e to the power x into e to the power minus x. So it gets here. Okay. Now what I can do is I take e to the power x common for sure. So I'll get e to the power 10x minus x minus 1 by tan x minus x, limit x approaches 0. Now when I put 0, this is 1, and for this part you see that if I take 10x minus x as y, let's say I take y equals to 10x minus x. Now if x approaches 0, you know y approaches 0, so this gets of the form e to the power y minus y, limit y approaches 0, whose value I know is 1. So this is 1, this is also again 1, so it's 1 into 1, so the answer is 1. Now in exponential limits, you'll get cases where the limits turns to be of the form 1 to the power infinity. Let's say I have asked you to evaluate, let's say this limit as in 1 plus 2 by x, limit infinity. You see that if I put x infinity, it comes out of the form 1 to the power infinity. Let's now understand how to evaluate limit of this form 1 to the power infinity. Let's say I have a function f of x and g of x, and both f of x and g of x approaches 0 as x approaches a. And this is known, and I have been asked to evaluate this limit. As you can see that if I put x equals to a, I know that both of this approaches 0, so 1 plus this is 0, so it's actually 1, and gx is 0, so it's infinity, so it's of the form 1 to the power infinity. Now the standard result is that this limit can be evaluated as e to the power limit x approaches a fx by gx. Now to evaluate this limit, now you can use standard L'Hospital's rule, anything. Just this is converted to this form. Now you can evaluate this form. Just you need to evaluate this, and this is e to the power this. So if you are able to find the value of fx by gx when limit x approaches a, then you just get the result as e to the power the value what you have got here. Let's solve one example to understand this properly. Let's say the same example which I told you before. Let's say I have been asked to evaluate this limit x approaches infinity 1 plus 2 by x to the power x. In this question you can see that my fx is what? My fx is 2 by x, and you can see that fx approaches 0 as x approaches infinity, so this is my fx, and my gx is 1 by x, right? My standard form was 1 plus fx to the power 1 by gx, and 1 by gx is x here, so gx is 1 by x, fx is 2 by x. So fx you can see is approaching 0, gx is also approaching 0. So these are the standard form. Now what I said, this limit can be evaluated as limit x approaches a fx by gx. So let's write this. This gets converted to e to the power limit x approaches infinity, fx is 2 by x and gx is 1 by x. So 1 by x. So x gets cancelled. So I have a 2 here. So it's limit x approaches infinity, constant 2. So it's nothing but e square. So e square is the answer to this question. So this is how we have evaluated this limit. Now let's take one more example to get it crystal clear. And remember, in questions where you don't get directly this form, we need to convert it into this form. For example, this question will make it more clear. Let's say I have asked you to evaluate this limit. This limit. In this limit, you can see that if I put infinity, what is this part? It's 1, because I can take x common and then I can cancel this, so I'll get 1 here, and here I'll get infinity. So it's of the form 1 to the power infinity. But I'm not getting something of this form. So first of all, let me convert to this form. I need something like 1 plus something. So let's add 1 here and then subtract here. Gx is what? Gx is 1 by x plus 4. And you see that gs is approaching 0 as x approaches infinity. So this is fine. I need to manipulate this part. Now you see that I'll get 1 plus 5 by x plus 1. Now see that I have converted it to this form. My fx now is 5 by x plus 1, which in this case is approaching 0 as x approaches infinity. So I have satisfied this condition. So my limiting value will be limit x approaches infinity fx by gx. So 5 by x plus 1 into g divided by gx. So it's 1 plus 4. So if I want to evaluate this part, you know, as x approaches infinity, this will approach 1. X plus 4 by x plus 1 is nothing but so it's approaching 1. So my answer is e to the power 5. This is the answer. So now let's take an example in this category which has been asked in IIT JEE. The question was asked in IIT JEE 1993. Let's solve that question also. The question is evaluate the limit Now since this is an IIT JEE question, I would like you to solve this on your own first. Try solving this question, give your time, and then if you're not able to solve, then only look at the solution to this question. Now let's see what the solution is. If I put 0 here, I'll get 1 to the power infinity. So this is of the form 1 to the power infinity. And I have the standard result. I know that if fx and gx approaches 0, I can modify this to a, right? I can modify it to this. So let's see if we can do that. Tan pi by 4 plus x. Let's use the formula for tan a plus b and let's expand this. It will be tan a tan b 1 minus tan a tan b. So tan pi by 4, which is 1. Let's write 1 bit directly, and then 1 minus tan pi by 4 into tan x. So tan x. Now in this form I have 1 plus something, so let's add 1 and subtract 1. This is gx for sure. Gx is x in this case, and gx is approaching 0, you can see. Now if I modify this, I'll get 1 plus 2 tan x by 1 minus tan x. Right? Now here you can see that if I put x equals to 0, this is 0, this is 0, right? So fx is 2 tan x minus divided by 1 minus tan x. So I have been able to find out what fx is. So my solution will be e to the power limit x approaches 0 divided by gx, and this. Okay, now if you see this properly, you have tan x by x term, which you know that if limits approaches 0, which is equal to 1, and if I put x equal to 0 here, this is 0. So the answer is e 2 tan x by x is 1 divided by 1, so e square. This is the answer. Okay, so finally we solved one question on exponential limits, which was asked in IIT JEE. Now let's move on to the last form, that is the miscellaneous form.